Now, introducing the hottest new tag team in podcasting, George Feast, Johnny Clash, the Game Marks.
Hey guys, this is George Feast here with my tag team partner Johnny Clash, and welcome to a very special episode of the Game Marks podcast. We are joined today by our very special guest, the galaxy's greatest alien, Kris Statlander.
You did better than Dave Sturchio. He has to ask me every single time he sees me if that's what it is. So
you've only been using it for about, 2 years now?
Yeah,
2-3
he's
years?
like, galaxy's greatest? People still say the galaxy's favorite alien, and I'm like...
You have two monikers.
Yeah, I could think of other favorite aliens, but...
Yeah.
Marvin the Martian comes to mind.
You might be the greatest, yeah.
Mm-hmm. People like Alf. People like...
Alf!
Wow.
Oh my god.
People like Roger from American Dad.
He's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Not a big fan of that show, but he makes
He's
it.
a good one.
Yeah.
There you go. There's a question that we'll ask later. Least favorite aliens.
Least favorite aliens. Yeah, we will come back to that. Mm-hmm. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Early Sunday morning.
It's not that early, but...
You beamed down from the sky into our lives today. And we're going to shower you with some video game knowledge.
Perfect.
And questions.
Perfect.
And hopefully not ask the same questions that every other interview ever asks.
That's okay. I'm ready. I'm prepared.
So how did you get into the... I'm kidding.
Okay, it was a baby one. I'm good. How did I get into?
Into the business.
The daggers that just came out.
You know what? I've just been such a huge fan my whole life. And it's just all I ever wanted. And then I was just like, dreams gotta come true. Dreams gotta become reality.
I remember the first time I saw a wrestling ring in real life. Just dropped to my knees and cried.
Yeah.
I think we have to talk louder.
Yeah, I had
The first, I was whispering for dramatic effect.
We're just very close from our one microphone.
Okay. Well, oof.
What are you answering right now?
I thought you actually wanted me to answer it.
No.
Okay, never mind. This is going great, guys.
All right, so before we actually get into the real interview with the questions, do we have any follow-up from last week? We did WWE 2K16.
No, but the whole week after playing that, I really just wanted to play more, actually.
Yeah.
We have to tell her her job this week.
Yes.
So,
very important.
Last week, we played against each other. We have a tournament every week.
Okay.
The greatest name ever.
I won the first match in an elimination chamber.
Okay.
He won the second match, which wasn't supposed to happen, but I agreed to it for some reason.
Like an idiot.
So then we had to do 2 out of 3, and he won because I suck at pins and whatever in the game.
Okay.
So this week, we want to do the same game, a best of 3, but we want you to pick all the match types and who we have to be in each match.
Oh, God. Okay. Well...
We'll do it later.
Yeah, okay.
We'll give you the rundown of the roster. You could pick Alicia Fox versus Melina or something.
See, a lot of times...
Melina in 2K16?
The joke went up right over your head.
All right, so you know what? Let's do this. Let's start with a simple question, and hopefully this is not a question that you've been asked before, but if you had to pick your top 3 wrestling games, do you have a top 3?
I've never played a wrestling game.
Okay.
Every day I wrestle is a game, so...
This is true.
That's a shirt.
It is.
That's a great shirt.
You're welcome.
From her point of view, I could...
Quote me on that. Give me the royalties.
We will.
Not.
No, to say that from like a different perspective, growing up, like playing these games, like doing the Create a Wrestler and going through the storylines, you always wanted to be that person in the game. And like, it's kind of cool being an actual wrestler, and it's literally the same thing, just you're the person doing everything.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, like, this is really interesting, just even when it was just you and I talking about this, and now that we have Kris here, it's really interesting perspective, because I'm only a fan. That's, like, I am a wrestling fan, full goddamn stop. Like, that's it. You guys are...
We know.
Fans. You guys are fans. You guys are in the business. Like, you have way more in-depth knowledge of like what goes into like making, like being a character. It's not just, I clicked on this button and now my guy does this taunt and like this is the character that I made up in my head. Like you have to go.
But it's kind of the same.
Yeah, but you have to really think about like how you want
Right.
to present yourself and like put this whole character together.
But
You
I
also
think
have to make sure you can execute it well too.
Yeah, that's also true.
I think in WWF Raw on Xbox, I just basically copied Billy Kidman's wrestling gear and put someone that slightly resembled me. Which means you just find the guy with the biggest nose and you put them as that.
Here's a good question. Off the cuff, didn't even think of this prior. I have a question for the both of you. How did you guys like get your character? Like, how did you become Johnny Clash? How did you become the galaxy's greatest alien?
You want to go first?
I mean, I'm an E-Fedder.
I was say you and I have talked about this separately. I just want that on record.
I'm an E-Fedder. I admit it. I admit I'm an E-Fedder. For those who don't know, it's an online role-playing wrestling game, which I started doing in 1998
That is the most 90s sentence I've ever heard.
on AOL. I brought it back in 2003. I probably stopped for a couple years, and then I started again in 2012 for maybe like a year or two. I don't do it anymore, but
You just do it in real life now.
right. But honestly, there's two guys that I would like to eventually have on the podcast that have become, I would say, two of my best friends from E-Fedding.
Okay.
And I think we should do a whole E-Fed episode because technically it's a wrestling game.
Do you want to give them shout outs?
Josh and Oz. Josh is actually from Canada, so my multiple trips to Toronto, I've actually met up with him. We spent 3 days together for WrestleMania. I don't remember the year, but the first one in New York City at MetLife.
Okay.
He came. We had the whole travel package with another friend. So there was another friend there. He wasn't creepy. we made sure.
Little mandate.
No, I haven't met the other one though. He's from Georgia.
That's awesome.
But I want an E-Fed episode eventually.
We can
but
do
that's
that.
where I created Johnny Clash.
I will be so out of that episode because I have zero knowledge. It'll be an educational episode for me.
It's great. I think it's really become one of those evolved games online with like Twitter.
But we've talked about that
Yeah.
too last week in 2K, how you can make multiple creative wrestlers. You
Yeah.
can download all the wrestlers. Like that was, you can essentially make your whole own E-Fed in these games now and just use your imagination. You don't even need to have other people. You can do everything yourself.
Yeah, back then it was just a message board. Now it's Twitter.
GeoCity site.
GeoCities or Angel Fire.
Oh, yeah.
Hated Angel Fire. There's too many ads.
Oh, God. All right. Chris, what about you?
Well, I know nothing about E-Feds. So the alien thing, I know everyone hated the idea at first.
I did.
Literally everybody thought it was dumb. They're like, you're a good girl wrestler. You don't need a character. And I was just like, why not be like a total package with like, have good ability to wrestle and also have a character that can play off of. But the idea of the alien, I didn't really see anybody doing anything like that. And also I'm a huge weirdo myself. And it's just like, and you think about it, it's like growing up, it's kind of like, you kind of almost feel, or I was always like, I never really fit in anywhere, and there's always, people don't want to get to know you until they start to get to know you, and then they think you're really interesting and stuff like that, and it's like, well, this has just been me this whole time. And it's like, when you think about, I guess, like aliens, it's like, you don't really know what they are, and then once you start to get like a little information, you're kind of more interested to find out. So it's almost like a weird play on my real life type of self in a way, where I'm just a weirdo and I do stupid extreme things sometimes, and people find it interesting, and I'm like, well, I don't know. It's kind of like a weird personification thing of my own personality.
Well, every wrestling podcast that you listen to, whether it's, people in the industry or people just observing from the outside, you always hear like the characters that have some roots in truth based on the person who's portraying them are always the ones that come off the best, because it's not it's not like a fake kind of character. You're playing off something that's already within you, whether it's like an
It's you times 10.
Yeah,
is what
it's
people
an
say, yeah.
over exaggerated version of yourself. Obviously, you're not actually an alien, so like,
Well, people say all the time, like, it's like, oh yeah, it's great because it's like, you're in the ring, and it's like a lot of times people come out to the ring as their character, and then the second they get in there, it's they're just wrestler. And they say that I'm able to maintain a character throughout my entire matches and whatnot. And in all honesty, it's just me being a weirdo, me just being myself, which is somehow makes sense for an alien. So, yeah, I don't know. It just works.
I think when you presented the alien idea, that was at least my biggest concern. Like, how would you do it during an entire match? Mm-hmm. But then you have literally done it every single match. So
yeah, it's weird because it's like, for me, it's not like I'm thinking about being the character. It's more just me. I always wanted to. Well, once I started wrestling, I was like, I kind of really want to have face paint. I never wanted to, like, doll myself up and like be
some of the greats have worn face paint.
And that's one of them's me. So I just didn't want to, like, because wrestling's kind of like a scummy business and stuff. So I didn't want to, like, doll myself up and, like, be only used in the world as, like, for my looks and stuff like that. I'm not like a sexual type person in a way, and I didn't want to be forced to portray something like that because I'm very uncomfortable with that, because that's not who I am. So I'm just like, let me just be like the biggest weirdo ever.
It's worked.
And it works somehow.
It's definitely worked.
And with those, like, dolled up, like, super sexualized character, there's, like, a shelf life on that.
Exactly.
So, like, you can only do that for so long. But
exactly.
with the rolling with the alien character, like, that has some legs under it. You can do that for a long time, and that's new and exciting. It's very to base off another podcast. It's very toyetic. Like, there's a lot of different markets that you can take the face paint, the character. Like, that would work great for video games. It would work for a number of different outlets. So
yeah.
Which speaking of bringing it back to video games,
yes.
Have fans sent you, like, their created wrestlers of you in video games?
Yep, I've had a couple people.
Do they
send me
actually
stuff.
look like you?
No.
I feel like they never do.
Sometimes they do. It always weirds me out when people send me, like, ones with my tattoos on them, because that means that they just they zoom in on, like, your pictures and, like, scan the photo and, like, cut it out and paste it on there.
And let me tell you,
I had a person ask me multiple times to send him pictures of my tattoos, and I'm like, no, and I never did, and yet somehow
you put the default generic tribal and you call it a day.
Yeah.
Which in these 2K games, you can, like she said, you can put, like, the tattoos, your face, your logos.
Yeah, it's like we were talking about in 2K16 with the face scan. Now
every game that comes out, I'm like, oh, it's so time consuming. I'm not gonna do that.
Oh yeah.
And then I'm sitting there on Photoshop, like, cutting around my tattoos, like uploading them to the 2K server. Like, well,
now everyone can have
Here we go.
the trademarked Johnny Clash tattoos on their
which are
creator
probably
wrestler.
trademarked by someone else. So
yeah.
wow, there's Kurt Cobain on the back.
But yeah, so that's always like that's, like, usually the thing that people do get my face paint in there sometimes, most of the time, so that's cool. And then the gear is just, it's my old leotard, so it's whatever. I don't care if that looks exactly like it.
That's awesome.
I think I know, at least for when I create myself, if it's not exact, I'm mad. Like, I want it to look like me. Mm-hmm. So if I were to create someone, especially someone I know, and it wasn't, like, precisely perfect, I would probably just delete it.
Which is so funny if you think about how far we've come. Like, there is no way in the N64 days are you getting a wrestler that looks like you, because it's like a predetermined, like, pool of faces. You can only really choose from the wrestlers that are already in the game. Like, we've become so jaded now because there's so many, like, features and
there's almost too much.
Yeah, almost to a fault.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's very cool and weird to see how far we've come, like, in terms of creativeness in video games.
And assuming there's going to be even more in the new 2K20.
Yeah.
All right, so speaking of wrestling games, Kiki, I'm going to call you Kiki because that's what I would normally call you. Now the world knows you are Kiki. You have done motion capture for a wrestling video game that might be out this year. Mm-hmm. Any cool insight? Any cool stories? Anything you did that was crazy. I don't know.
Well, why don't we start with this? Why don't you just kind of give us like a general overview before we get into like the cool stories of just like what goes into doing mocap, like what happens when you get to the studio, like how's that setup work?
Okay, so once you figure out the whole process of like doing mocap, it's super, super simple. But you get there, it's usually an 8:30 a.m. Like call time type thing. So you get there. If it's the first day of the week, you have to sign your contract, which just is like, oh yeah, this is what you're getting paid for.
You can't talk about it on podcasts. Yeah, we get it.
Yeah. Can't talk about this information until obviously the game is released. You get there. They cater breakfast for you, so you eat breakfast, and then you get dressed into your mocap suit. And the suit, what you have to do, it's a top. It's all skin tight stuff. It's a top that you have to zipper up, and then you have to put the pants on over it, and it's like a weird like belt and zipper also, and it also has like the loops around the feet, so it stays tight under your feet.
Like a kickpad kind
of? Okay.
Yeah, and then on the wrists of the top, it has like these weird strap things, and which come back into play when you have to put the gloves on, and then you have to go get all markered up by everything, and it's like they put 2 on your hand, they put them on your wrist. You do a forearm one, the elbow, bicep, tricep, one here, one here. They do one in your sternum. I think they put one up here.
Where's that?
What?
It's
a podcast.
At the top of your, they put at the base of your neck, in the front, anterior, science terms. Yeah. They do 2 on your hip bones. They do 2 on like where you bend at the waist. They do it all down your spine. Wow. There's one they have to put when they do it on like your thighs in the front. They do it in like different portions. So it's like they'll put one like closer to the hip, and then they'll put one on the other leg closer to the knee, just so there's like a leg differentiation. They put 2 on either side of your knee, and then the same thing like with the thigh. They'll do one on like a little bit higher on the shin, a little bit lower on the shin, and then you have them on either side of your ankle. Either side, or is it just outside? I think it might just be outside of the ankle. Then they have them on your shoes, where it goes one on the heel, one on each side, and then one on the top of the shoe.
Do they fall off?
Yeah, all the time.
And you like when you take a bump, do they just like
so you
flutter everywhere?
You don't feel it when you take a bump. They're Velcro, so it's like the marker itself is Velcro, and then they put another thing over it also.
How long would you say the process is to put all the markers on? Because you just listed off.
We're like painting Hellboy here.
I would say it's a ton.
It's a lot, yeah.
Oh,
and then you have to put on the hat too, and there's usually like 2 on the left ear, and then 1 in the front, and maybe 1 on the other side or something like that. But it doesn't, once you have people who've been doing it for a while, it's maybe like a 5-minute process.
Oh, wow.
Wow, I expected it to be way longer.
And sometimes if you get out there early after getting the suit on, it's there'll be like 2 people doing it at the same time.
How many people are in the suit at the same time?
It depends. Sometimes they'll have like just women doing it, or I think the most we've had is probably like 8 people, 8 to 9, something like that. There's never more than 10 people there, but it's they usually just have more people there, so they have a variety of sizes, people with different abilities that they can do, and like also to like switch people out so you're not in there the whole time.
And is it like each day you go and you do something else? Like today we're coming in, we're gonna do entrances. The next day we're going in, we're gonna take bumps.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. Usually they try and save. They always say that they want to save all the hard stuff for the end of the week, but you'd rather get it done earlier in the week. I remember my first day, the first thing I did was I was put in a figure 4 sort of type thing and pulled off the apron onto the floor. And I didn't use a crash pad for it. And
that
so
was going to be
the very first thing I did, I took a floor bump, basically.
That was going to be the next thing I'd ask. Is like, do they have like crash pads set up?
They usually they have a bunch of crash pads, and everything is like super, super protected.
Oh, that's what I wanted to ask. That was in my notes. Did you Was it like the crash pad ring, like at the Performance Center? Because that thing looks freaking sweet.
I don't know what that is.
It's a ring, but the mat is a crash pad.
No, it's not. It's a regular full size.
I am dying to get in that.
It is a regular full size ring.
They don't like do anything to the ring. Like there's no like markers on the ring itself. It's just on you guys.
There's tape and stuff in certain places.
Okay.
They'll have like tape on if they put a crash pad in. They have to do crash pads over the whole ring so you don't step off the crash pad. Which it does make moves like harder sometimes if you have to do like a power move.
Like walking in a bounce castle or something.
Yeah, it's not as bad as you would think, but so usually what they do is they'll put like the 2 squishy crash pads and then they'll put like a thin one on top of it to make it a little bit more solid.
That makes sense.
But you have to stay on the crash pad when you're doing certain things. Usually it's never like a running type spot or anything.
Okay.
But sometimes they can't use crash pads and they'll tell you like, yeah, there's no crash pads for this. But yeah, like everything is like super, super safe and protected. Like also on the first day, me and this other girl, we became team tables because we did all the table bumps and all the table breaking
That's
stuff.
like me at Creator Pro.
Yeah, but the tables at MoCap are also like, they're pre-split in half, and then there's pads on top of it already. Like they're like taped to the table, so you don't even feel anything. It's super easy. The hardest thing about mocap is when you're doing a person's move, and for that specific person, you have to do it like they do it. And, you know, everyone has their own weird ways of doing things.
It's like if VSK were to do his and you have to get that splash just right.
Exactly, yeah. Like you have to do things almost
pop up.
Or like if a person runs the ropes, like when you're running the ropes, you have to do it like in a generic way too. And like not try and do it like the way you're comfortable doing it, because it's just you have to not be yourself, and that's the hardest part is like trying to not wrestle the way you wrestle and like just be I'm just a generic wrestler, and it's like ugh.
I would be great at that.
Well, that was going to be another question that I had. Like, is there like, do you get time to like, okay, I'm going to be this wrestler? Do you get like 5-10 minutes to just be like, okay, I'm going to put myself in character. I'm going to try to think about how their mannerisms and how they do stuff.
It's that stuff like that mostly is when you're doing like entrances or taunts and stuff like that. We actually did a lot towards the end of my time there because I was there every month from January till like July. I also got to do Brian's entrance, so.
I know, that's cool.
So that was the other thing I wanted to ask. So like you're doing motion capture for both male and female superstars.
Not all the time. That one I just was like, well, can I do this one? Because that's my trainer and it'd be really funny. So that's why I did that one. But they pretty much have like, if anything, they have guys doing girls more than they have girls doing guys because you know, so if the girls can't perform, like if they want to give a woman in the game like some sort of power move, a person to look bigger in the game, they'll usually have like a bigger person doing their moves and stuff like that.
Okay. So I mean, I didn't even know if you wanted to touch on this. You are the first female graduate from Creator Pro, trained by WWE superstar Kurt Hawkins.
Yes.
And
Pat Buck.
And Pat Buck.
Who's now a WWE personnel.
I know
you can see him on SmackDown and Raw.
You can see him.
Yeah. You look like you're looking at something.
George. So, you know, I can't go one episode without talking about my favorite wrestling game, which is TNA Impact. We're still waiting for you to answer me, Dixie. Please answer me.
At Dixie Carter.
Maybe you should tweet her.
# Clash Loves Dixie.
Ooh. Can we get that going?
Oh, God.
With the pause.
Yeah. Anyway, speaking of all the motion capture stuff, it's pretty interesting to me because I remember this when the Midway TNA game was being developed, but the people who did the motion capture and most of like the story and pretty much had a hand in the game were Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, Low-Key, Sanjay Dutt, and Jeff Jarrett. So they brought in the heavy hitters to like really nail it down.
And Joe's like a gamer. He's got a Twitch channel.
Joe, AJ, they're all
that's
hardcore gamers. So that's kind of like a pretty sweet full circle moment for them.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny that majority of them are now in the WWE games. I doubt they did their own motion capture for those, but
no.
If you play that game, you realize that a lot of the cool like high fly moves are all exactly the same, and you could tell like, oh, AJ did that one or Sanjay did that one, you know? Like the Asai moonsault, that was not Jeff Jarrett. Also, friend of the pod.
We have those?
I want to make sure I get his name right. At GACKDAW, Gakdaw. He is creating his own video game on ultra-violent wrestling. Have you seen him?
Yes.
He posts clips almost daily. I believe he's from the UK. He said he would, he's from Beds, UK. He would come on and chat with us about his video game process in the future.
Yeah, those little clips that he's been posting is absolutely...
He's insane.
It's probably the best looking deathmatch style like game setup I've ever seen. It's not like kitschy. It looks real. It's not like over the top for the sake of being over the top. It's over the top, but it's like these are bumps that people are actually taking. Like they're insane, ridiculous bumps, but like there's actual video footage of people taking these.
But he actually owns motion capture suits. He had mentioned in a tweet...
Mocap interview round 2.
Yeah, like a couple of weeks ago. He's like, oh yeah, one of my mocap suits is in for repair. It's like, oh, okay. So it's kind of cool that like...
Yeah.
He has them. And
he himself is doing the bumps.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
Paying his dues. He's paying his
that's
dues.
something we could ask him when he finally comes on. But I think that's something pretty damn cool that like someone was able to watch these matches and kind of recreate them on his own.
So this was, we briefly talked about, we mentioned that you were trained by Kurt Hawkins and Pat Buck. What was it like to recreate Kurt's entrance?
I thought it was really funny. Because I like watched him and I was like, does he really do these like weird kick things and whatnot? And he does. And he didn't even know that he did that because he's like, someone told me that they're like, oh, they made you like look like you. She made you look like you like kick like a girl. I'm like, they showed us
this one here.
Yeah, on the apron.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they showed us 2 videos and you did it in both of them. So I don't know what to tell you. He's like, I didn't even know I did that.
He does that here.
You got to fill that space between. Coming out of the gate and getting to the ramp somehow.
No. He does it on the apron.
Oh, he does it on the apron?
Yeah.
I've seen him do it everywhere.
Yeah.
So speaking of entrances...
Do you want to know how it's done?
Yes, but were you able to sneak your own entrance in there?
Yes.
Yes?
I told you, he's just trying to make it seem like this is breaking news for the pod. He already knows.
It is breaking news for the pod.
Damn it, Kiki.
He already knew. I told you guys the day it happened.
Wait, did they let you put your turnbuckle taunt in?
Yeah, I did my whole entrance.
That's sick.
I tree of woe
That's
myself.
Awesome.
It's different from what I do now because I change up everything I do all the time. But it's still me going upside down on the turnbuckle, and then I do. Have you seen me do like that weird like bridge thing?
Yes.
It's that one. It's when I do that. It's real creepy.
So when I create me in this wrestling game, I'm going to give me your entrance.
Go right ahead.
So I could maybe finally be athletic.
You think they're just going to call it like Alien Entrance?
Maybe.
Like, I wonder what name they're going to give it.
Kris
Beam down.
Statlander entrance.
Or maybe they'll call it like KS1. Because everything like, I remember in like one of the old games they had like the crime time taunts, but it was just like CT1, CT2.
HB1, like the Hardy Boys when they weren't in the game, but all of their stuff was.
Maybe this would just be like KS1.
Maybe. They don't tell you like what they're going to call everything. But what's annoying is that like they have you do, whenever they have you do an entrance, they have you do like a victory scene afterwards.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, I don't know what I do. Like, I don't have like a pose
You
really
yell.
that I do. Yeah, but like you don't mocap yelling.
Well, I mean.
So
Sting's in every game, and Ric Flair's in every game, and they yell and woo, and someone's got to mocap the motion of
some brawn, you know.
yeah.
Oh yeah, you know what's that just reminded me. But during some of the showcase stuff that we were doing, they had like we had people like outside managing, mocapping the managers as well too.
Oh, that's cool.
Like it was like a match with Charlotte, and someone was obviously being Charlotte, and then someone was on the outside being Ric Flair and just going woo, woo like the whole time. It was so funny. So it was stuff like that, like recreating stuff like that. But yeah, they had someone. It was very funny, like just watching your friends just like trying to be them.
I was just saying that's probably.
I do that every Tuesday night at class.
It's literally the funniest thing ever, like at mocap, watching people try to be other people.
So, you said something before, and that made me think of another question. So I'm just gonna ask it. What was it like? You know, you had mentioned that you were doing this motion capture with friends. How often did you guys break and just like immediately start hysterical laughing because you're watching each other do things that the other person normally wouldn't be doing, trying to imitate someone that you probably already know?
So we had, for almost like all the times there, like everyone is just a clown at mocap. Like the staff there, the other people doing mocap with you, everyone is just a clown. It's just the funniest thing ever. Because it's like you're there from like 8:30 in the morning to like 5:30. Multiple days a week, and you're just like stuck with these people all day. So it's like if you don't do stuff, you're gonna lose your mind if you're not like joking around. Some of the people are like some of the funniest people, like just extremely energetic the whole time. So this was closer to the end of the time that I was there for, and it was a 2-day shoot. So the beginning of the Monday, I think it was, we were like, all right, we're going to have a song of the day. And, of course, it was All Star by Smash Mouth.
It's a classic.
Great song.
Yeah,
Sixth grade
so
talent show.
someone put it on, like, the loudspeaker for the whole thing on repeat. And it was going on for, like, an hour or so before someone changed it.
That just went from the greatest way to start your day to the worst.
Wait. But it was funny. It was funny, though. It was real funny, though, because they eventually, like, were like, oh, all right, we figured it out. And then right before, so day 2 comes around, and they were like, all right, we're getting ready. This is gonna be the last scene of the day, and then we're done for the whole like week or whatever, the weekend. And one of the like directors guys, he goes like this. So there's like at least 5 of us on the floor, like in the ring and whatnot, getting ready for the next scene. And he looks at his paper and like at it like not even trying to do anything. He just goes, and then we all go, buddy wants to, like, all of us in sync. And it was the most perfect moment ever.
Oh, my God.
It was, like, that we were pretty much on the floor dying laughing because it was just so in sync and perfect.
That's awesome.
It was...
That's great.
So it's a lot of, like, silliness like that. That was...
It's good to know that it's not just, like, all business. That, like,
yeah,
you guys
no.
are able to, like, have fun and stuff.
It's super laid back and chill.
Maybe that's how we should do the rookie classes at Creative Pro. Just put one horrible song on repeat.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes.
What's New Pussycat by Tom Jones?
Oh, God.
I know.
Do you know
That's
why?
not even a fun song.
No, do you know why? Because it doesn't have a beginning or an end. The way that the song ends is the same way that it
just
starts.
loops.
It's not intentional, but no one really knows that song very well. So there's a comedian, John Mulaney, and he has a joke.
I've heard this one, the Salt and Pepper Diner or whatever it was.
Yeah,
I've
so
heard this one. They put it on like 27 times.
The joke is, you want to drive people insane, you put on What's New Pussycat 6 times, and then you just watch them, and you go, either What's New Pussycat is a lot longer than I remember, or someone has put this song on multiple times.
I think I'm going to do this Tuesday.
Then by the 4th time that they hear the song, they're like, someone has definitely put this on at least 2 times. Then you put on It's Not Unusual, and people go nuts because they're like, it's not, they're not playing What's New Pussycat anymore. This is great. And then after It's Not Unusual, you do What's New Pussycat again.
Like 8 more times. So
there's your Tuesday or Wednesday schedule.
This
There
is
you
how
go.
I will fill a 2-hour class.
there you go.
Great.
Just driving people insane.
Run the ropes and the song ends.
Ooh, you might be onto something.
Oh, maybe that's it. You run the ropes and
For the entire
however,
song.
Yeah.
you got to do it until the song. So it's almost like musical chairs. You run the ropes until the song stops, and then when the music's on, you run the ropes.
I like that in general, even if it's not just a repeated song.
Yeah.
Thanks, George.
Yeah.
You
Hey,
come
look.
down anytime.
Hey, I'm here.
He's the idea guy.
That's why they pay me the big bucks at nowhere.
Yeah.
Oh, awkward. Oh.
So when there's like a new DLC pack with newer wrestlers because they keep coming out throughout the year.
Yeah.
Do they keep bringing people back in to do new motion capture, new entrances for that?
Probably. I haven't. This
Wow.
is literally the first time I've done it, so I don't know. But yeah, their schedule is pretty much like they'll probably start again doing stuff like next month.
Yeah, because there's constantly new people coming onto the roster.
Yeah.
And they put them in the game within like a month or two.
And then how far out? So like if you were going to get a call back to come back and do the motion cap for one of the other packs, how far out like of notice do you get?
Not as much as you'd hope. It's kind of like sometimes it's like they're like, oh yeah, we're thinking it's either going to be this week in this month, and then it's like, okay, so I'll make sure I try and keep that whole week, and then it's like, okay, we're only going to use you for like these 2 days. Let's figure out the flights, and then it's like, so you don't really know for sure until like a week or two before it. Sometimes you know in advance, but like you'll get like all your flight information and hotel information like the week before.
Damn, that's like super short notice.
Yeah. Because again, like if they're doing it every month and it's like they have other stuff they have to worry about during the month, and it's like the person that contacts you isn't the booker for it. So they have to make sure you're available and go through like their travel agent and stuff like that.
I don't even think we asked, like, where do you have to go? Like what state?
California.
Okay.
I can think of where states to be in.
Yeah. It's like North California, so you're right near Napa Valley.
Oh,
so there's
so
not like much around there, but it's
Just
nice.
wine
It's
everywhere.
pretty.
I would say it's probably nice after like a loud, crazy, busy day to just be like, I am not in a very loud, super active city. Like if you were in
real
like
nice.
LA or-
yeah, like if they were like,
Wow.
okay, you're going to LA and you're going to come to this studio, you're going to do mocap, and mocap is really loud, the studio is really loud, and then you're going to go back to your hotel.
We're going to let you out around midnight and you're going to have to walk down Hollywood Boulevard
and,
back
like,
home. Good
that's
luck.
really
Yeah.
loud. And
It's-
everything's really crazy and it doesn't stop.
The studio is like probably like a 5-minute drive away from the hotel that we all stay at, and they usually have like 1 or 2 people get a rental car, so
cool.
it's pretty much there and back. So, but yeah, it's real pretty out there. I like it. Every Tuesday is Taco Tuesday for the lunch catering.
Normal.
For the lunch catering, they
Oh
always,
God, in California to get tacos, that's probably the best Taco Tuesday ever.
That
Yeah,
just reminds
they
me of
do
I
it-
Love You Man when he's like, want to share
They
this
do
fish
it-
taco with me?
all the catering is like buffet style, and then they'll leave like trays out for you so you can like take stuff back as well. And then they also have like coffee all day, tea all day. They have big refrigerators with waters and like sodas and energy drinks in there for you, and they have gum and like snacks, and everybody always gets fruit snacks and white rock stars. That is like the go-to.
duh.
That is the go-to snack
I've
of
never.
mocap.
I guess it's because I'm not a wrestler. Every person I know that does wrestling, they swear by the white.
Okay, so this
I have never-
I hate it. I
I
didn't
have
like
never
it.
had
This is,
Bang. I've never had Rain.
also-
I've never had White Monster.
There's like a 7-Eleven within like a 5-minute walk from the hotel. So I always will walk there and like get like protein bars and Red Bulls and stuff like that and just bring them with me because
say-
I don't really like rock stars.
That was going to be the next question. Like, what fuels your day? You just listed off
Yeah.
all the things that they give you.
I have tea, sometimes coffee, and I'll bring like a Red Bull or 2.
Okay, so to go back on what you asked before, like about the wrestlers and the white monsters and all that.
No, it's they white rock stars.
Right.
The white monster
George asked about the
is
monster.
yeah, it's
Wait,
white
there's
monsters.
White Rock Star?
Yeah.
Yeah, they have sugar-free rock stars.
So
Like Bret Michaels?
he's pretty white. No, so we're gonna. We were all at a Global Force event that we all worked, and James Storm was there.
Okay.
And he was giving out tips to looking vascular before a match, which he learned from, I believe it was Jesse Sorensen.
Okay.
I would love to have James Storm on here. Maybe we could get him for our TNA episode.
You know what? I actually think that might be better.
Yeah. Anyway, his
Beer Money Games.
his go-to before every match is
Is it like 10 gummy bears?
gummy bear. Yeah, the Haribo gummy bears and a white monster because you're on such a sugar rush that your veins just pop.
All right. Don't
Which
like.
probably
It's only
means you're gonna
10
have a heart
It's only
attack.
10 gummy bears though.
I thought like the
I can't not eat a
Haribo
whole
gummy
pack.
bears are like notorious for like.
Pooping.
I thought it was just like ruining your stomach.
I mean, if you eat the whole pack,
Because I feel like I would not want to be like, all right,
I think they're
I'm
just
gonna eat
loaded
10
with
gummy
sugar.
bears, destroy my stomach, and go wrestle.
They're just loaded with sugar, so like your veins pop, you get that rush from
Yeah.
the monster, and
Get
your
on
heart's
it.
racing.
Now we know Clash's new pre-match routine.
No, I'm good. I'm good. I'm already sucking wind.
So now we're gonna start the question and answer segment. First, I think it's just pretty easy. If you had to put a number, we'll say what, 3 3 wrestling games or the last wrestling video game that you played? Let's do that.
I've never played a wrestling video game.
Okay.
Do you want to?
If you had to pick one.
We have 2 here.
It looks extremely complicated.
Can we have you play one after this? And
No, we cannot. I can.
For YouTube.
I'm.
There's 4 buttons. I have one with 2 buttons.
It's so confusing.
All right, so if you
Especially
next
like
time, next time.
hearing like when you're hearing like, oh yeah, we're doing all this for all the default settings and all this, so it's easier for smooth. I'm like,
But if it's like a Sega Genesis game, there was no motion capture for a Sega Genesis game.
There's 4 buttons.
There's 4 buttons and it's all.
We'll save it. We'll save it for the Creative Pro.
That'll be one of the bonus episodes that we do. We'll have Chris come back on and
Creative Claw.
We'll do Chris versus Mark in a game of Chris's choosing because she was the first guest on the podcast.
Okay.
that's fine. I'll do that.
You're going down, Mark. I have
he
full
can't
faith
be,
in
he
Chris.
can't be
I'll get
Flair.
competitive, but it'll take me a second to like get in the groove of how to do it, and then I'll get competitive.
I like this idea. All right, so if
I
you
used to play Mortal Kombat a lot.
so we could probably do arcade.
Yeah.
Have them
Yeah.
either do arcade or in your house. Yeah, it plays just like Mortal Kombat, but it's all wrestlers.
Okay. Well, I'm also talking about like super old consoles.
Yeah.
Like, we don't.
We play the oldest.
In my house, we never got past the PlayStation 2.
That's fine. You don't need to.
That's
I'm
when
just like,
arcade
you
came out.
know,
So if you played like Mortal
and-
Kombat 3,
But no. We didn't have Mortal Kombat for those. We had those on like my grandpa's like Atari and like Nintendo 64s and stuff like that. Like it was like the old
Either way.
games.
I think you'll be okay.
But yeah.
Okay, so if you had to make a Mount Rushmore of your top 5 favorite people to wrestle currently,
Aren't
against,
there only 4 people on Mount Rushmore?
we're gonna do 5 because Mark asked about 4, so screw Mark.
5 people I like to wrestle.
Johnny Clash cannot be one of them.
I've never
wrestle,
wrestled
yeah.
him.
Yeah. It's not
That we
my
got to
fault,
make that
George.
happen. That's
Besides
gotta
like in
happen.
practice, I guess. I don't even know if we really did that besides just like drills.
Yeah.
you want to take a Canadian Destroyer?
No, he
taken
would
one.
give
No,
me
you got
one.
to. No, you got to take it. He's got to take it from you. You got to give him one.
Right now?
Yeah, right now.
There is a ring behind
Get in
us.
the ring.
Right now.
We are at camp right now.
Pay your dues.
Look at the clip on Instagram.
I'm wearing jeans, so.
Yeah, I don't have. My neck is still sore from the last one I took. I legit bounced off my head.
Oh God, that's awful.
I might have a video of that so I can show you guys. But people I like to wrestle. Who do I like to wrestle? I don't know.
You can do 4. You can do 3. Just whatever. Is it like playing favorites if you do that? I don't want you to get like.
Not really. I just like. I love getting the chance to wrestle people, but I also love getting to work with new people all the time. So I don't really have like, like if I find out that I'm wrestling someone that I had a good match with before, then I'm excited to do it again. But I don't know. It's never like a person. There's never in my mind where I'm just like, I wish I could wrestle this person all the time because that gets boring after a while.
Yeah.
So like you and Mark have wrestled a bunch of times with like Blitzkrieg and stuff.
Yeah, it's horrible.
All right, so listen.
I want to keep that in so bad.
This is what we're gonna do.
We've wrestled.
I'm gonna snapmare.
We've
You're
wrestled-
gonna get up. You're gonna give me an enziguri.
I'm gonna give you the world's greatest suplex.
I'm gonna hit you with a pile driver, and you're gonna kick out.
We've wrestled 3 times. So.
Okay.
Hopefully.
Okay, wait.
that's
Here
it.
is the video of me doing the Canadian and bouncing off my head.
Okay.
It was a screen recording.
Oh, good. That's
Legit,
good.
boom! I bounced
good.
off my head. Huge,
Okay, great.
huge pop in my neck.
Huge pop. And the hops.
The hops and the neck pops.
Yeah,
Okay, so are we just leaving it at that? You like wrestling new people? We're not going to name them.
yeah. I don't really have like a person.
you know what,
like,
that
makes sense.
I don't
That's a
have
good
people
answer.
that I want to wrestle multiple times because I like getting to wrestle a lot of people.
Which is pretty sweet because I feel like every match that's announced for you now is completely different.
Oh yeah, for
'Cause
sure.
Now people, I don't want to word it that they trust you, but at the same time they trust you working like the top and
I
new
never
people.
saw myself as someone who would like people would request to wrestle, and
You are.
yeah, now I
You
am.
are.
But it's like it's one thing with like girls, but then like I have like guys requesting to work with me too.
I'm excited to see talking about people who are now requesting to wrestle you. Every year, like at the end of the year, January, they do like every wrestler does their list.
Yeah.
It was really cool to see, a couple years ago when Cody released his list and Pat Buck was on there. I was like, wait, I know Pat. That's super cool.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see come January how many people have you on.
I just want to say she was on my list last year and it never happened.
Because your list doesn't
She's
matter.
the only person on the list I did not wrestle.
I put Alex Reynolds on my list, and we're about to have our third match.
I have a 2-part question that we can ask.
Okay.
One, what was the last wrestling game that you played? And if it's not the same game, what was the last overall video game that you played?
Well, I told you I've never played a wrestling game before.
Okay.
So you're just going to have to ask me what is the last game I played in general. And I'm going to say, you guys can guess.
Well, you had mentioned before that you played Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
She mentioned PlayStation 2, nothing above.
It was
And
a
it's
PlayStation 2 game.
I
I'll
have
tell you that.
an idea in my head that I think it's it. Knowing you and knowing, I think I got it.
So that's the thing, like, you know her.
I'm probably way wrong here.
This is the first time I'm meeting her,
Probably.
so I have no, like, background information to go on here.
Okay.
So I am going to say, like, a Crash Bandicoot game.
I'm going to go Kingdom Hearts.
I did play that game before.
Okay.
But that's not
Okay, I'm close.
Okay.
It's, so it was probably one of my favorite games. It's probably the last time. Monster Jam.
The
Monster
Truck
Trucks?
game?
Yeah.
Oh.
Love that game.
Monster Jam.
So you just opened another idea for us because we're going to do WWE Crush Hour eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever
so-
played that?
No, I've never played a wrestling video
not a
game.
wrestling game.
But it's WWE.
So,
is-
so if you ever hear of, like, Twisted Metal?
No.
Okay, so Twisted
know
Metal
nothing.
is essentially...
Monster
That's
Jam?
not true. So Twisted Metal is essentially a car racing game, but the premise of the game is that you, like, pick up weapons. It's almost like the battle mode in Mario Kart, if you've ever played Mario Kart, where, like,
Maybe.
you pick up weapons and you just shoot each other with weapons.
Yeah, you just got to be last man standing,
Yeah,
basically.
it's that, but, like, you get, like, American Badass Undertaker on this really blown out...
There's Stone Cold in his little weapons car.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
fighting.
were never a character.
Triple
You were
H,
just a
Booker
car.
T.
And
Yeah.
then you just...
But, like, there's live commentary based on what you're doing by JR. So, like, it'll be like, The Undertaker picked up the homing rockets. And, like,
Okay, yeah.
It's ridiculous.
It was
is-
never...
It's absolutely
Monster
ridiculous.
Jam's not like that. See, I would play that video game.
We
Do
should
they have
do
any-
that
For the
eventually
video.
when we have our...
Yeah, I would play that one because all I have to do is drive. I did a lot of racing games because...
WCW had the trucks. Are they in the Monster Jam game?
No.
Doubt it.
No, there's no...
I wonder if
Did
they made...
Medusa...
I was always El Toro
Gravedigger?
Loco.
I think Medusa drove the WCW truck.
No, they had... back in the day, they had, like, the Hulk Hogan and the Giant truck.
Oh.
And, like, they were branded for Monster Jam.
They weren't in the games that I played. I was always El
Yeah.
Toro Loco.
They're not going to put that...
Hey, you never know, man.
Okay, so
El Toro Loco was my
not
guy.
what I guessed.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. What other questions do you have? Do you have any? I asked mine.
Have you played any, like, sports games?
I don't think so. I have, like, if, like, my friends had, like, the Wii games. Like,
Those are fun.
We'd do that.
I actually... Last week you talked about Force Unleashed. I
Yeah.
actually had that for the Wii.
Motion control?
I actually never finished the game because the motion control was so goddamn annoying.
That game is so amazing. It's so, like, I'm such, like, a Star Wars geek. It's
Yeah, I mean, I kind of am too, but to sit there and swing my controller around as
yeah,
a
that's
lightsaber,
a lot. Just get it for, like, a regular
Yeah.
console.
it was a
It's
gift,
way
so
better.
I had no
um,
choice.
We had a lot of, like, car and racing games because my dad's a mechanic and he used to race cars and stuff
Oh,
like
cool.
that, too.
Oh, that's awesome.
Did you have the actual, like, race
We had
steering wheel
we had
controller?
a steering wheel, yeah.
Yes, I
That's
had that.
cool.
We had
With the
that,
pedals and
too.
everything.
I don't know if I had pedals.
I say I don't
But
think they
it-
had
it
those for
had,
PlayStation 2. I think that's a
had-
newer thing.
No, I had it for PlayStation 1, the pedals.
Really?
It was a brake pedal, it was a gas pedal, and it was the
There might have been.
It was a steering wheel with a joystick next
I
to
think
it.
you had the option to use
Yeah,
those.
I
Like
think
maybe you
I
bought
think
the
it
kit,
was.
Yeah.
and you had the option to
Yeah.
like plug in the.
We definitely had the steering wheel. I remember that.
It worked for the racing games, but it didn't work for Driver.
I thought you were
Which
going to
made
be
me
like,
really mad.
it worked for the racing games, but I tried to play.
No, I tried to play
SmackDown
Driver
2
with it.
on.
Like I think Driver 2 is the one where you got out of the car and could walk around.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you could steer the car, but once you got out, you were kind of screwed.
I guess you had to have like.
Yeah, it
both.
didn't work. Okay, anyway, we should wrap it up. We've
All
kept
right.
you for a long ass time.
So fun.
We said before we were going to have you pick our matches and our opponents. So if it gets to 3 people, that is. So, I don't know if you can see this. This is the
Yeah, I can see it.
2K16 roster. Let's give you just a general idea. A lot of people aren't on it. A lot of people that are on it are bigger now or not as big now, so their ratings might be... Okay.
So first match is gonna be tag match. We'll do Summer Rae and Sting.
Can you do
I don't
intergender?
think you could do mixed.
God damn
That
it.
thing, yeah, that was like
Yeah,
17.
that's a.
Fine. Summer Rae.
Hold on, I'll pull up the. They might have the roster split.
Scroll down. Summer Rae and we'll go. You know what? Screw it. Not Summer Rae. I'm gonna say Kevin Nash
Okay.
and
This is great content.
Kevin Nash
It's not alphabetically
and
there.
Cactus Jack.
Okay. Is that me or George?
Hold on, let me think of the other team first.
Okay.
I want
I like where it's going. I do.
Ravishing Rick Rude
Okay.
and the Honky Tonk Man.
Okay. I like it.
All right.
Now, who is who?
I'm going to give Clash Rick Rude and Honky Tonk Man. And then
Okay.
you can have
I'll take it.
Kevin Nash and Cactus Jack.
That's what I was
Sounds
hoping
good.
was going to happen. I'm all for it.
And that's just a regular basic tag match.
Round 2.
Okay, round 2 will be an Iron Man match.
How long?
Okay.
An hour.
Okay, we're gonna do 15 minutes. Great.
No, it's not actually an hour. It's an hour in-game clock. In-game clock is
15 minutes,
Yeah,
isn't it?
it's it's fine.
Okay.
God damn it. I was hoping.
It's not real time.
All right, so we'll do
We'll do an hour-long Iron Man match.
hour-long Iron Man match with
Summer Rae.
No. I want Damian Sandow.
I met him in a Wawa.
All right, it's not
Great.
not your moment. Damian Sandow and where was it? Where'd it go?
Colin Cassidy.
Shut up. Bam Bam Bigelow.
Okay.
Ooh, star of WWE Arcade.
Okay,
Yes.
so you're gonna get Damian Sandow because you guys are such good friends, and he's your friend. And Clash, you can be Bam Bam Bigelow.
Okay. Friend of the pod, Damien Sandow. All right, round 3, if we get there.
If we get there, I'm gonna say, what are the steps again?
Pretty much anything.
Okay, we'll do Hell in a Cell,
Okay.
and it'll be
Screwed me last time. The damn cell.
we'll do Stardust, and Titus O'Neil.
Okay. Great.
This is the greatest
Great
matches.
2015 mid-card matchup in the cell. Okay, great.
Unbelievable.
Who's who?
Hell in a Cell Intercontinental title match.
We could do that.
Clash, you're gonna get Stardust.
All right, great.
And then you get
I gotta work on my pins.
George.
The
gets,
Gator half of Slater Gator.
George gets Titus O'Neil.
Okay, I wrote it down. We're good.
Worldwide.
Was that even a thing in 2000?
Titus Worldwide.
Yeah.
No, they were still he comes out to primetime players
Wow.
because Darren Young's in the game.
That's true. Yeah. All right, great.
All right,
Thanks
bye.
for
Wait, no. Bye. So
for UFOs here. She's gotta go.
Where can people find you on social media?
At Call Me Kris Stat. On all forms.
On
And by
all
all
forms.
forms, I mean just Twitter and Instagram. Don't find me on Facebook.
That's weird. Don't be creepy.
Yeah, don't. Yeah.
Stop sending me friend requests because I'm not your friend.
As she peels
You hear that?
as she peels the wrapper off of a water bottle on a podcast in front of the microphone.
You hear that, George? She's not your friend. Stop requesting her.
Wow.
He never requested me. He knows better.
Not weird. Not some
She
weird
has a pro wrestling tee store
I
with
do.
some sick
Yay.
designs on
by a
it.
horrible graphic
Made
designer.
by me, so buy them because she's awesome.
Clash gets no royalties, so
I don't care.
absolutely buy them all.
It's okay.
This is
I
my
barely
royal-
get the royalties too.
This is my royalty. She's on the pod.
I give him free shirts though.
Yeah.
I do.
Great. We are at Game. That's GAMEMARKS. Game Marks Pod on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Twitch. We don't have a Twitter URL yet, so make that happen.
We don't have a Twitter URL?
I said that wrong.
Let's do it again. We are the Game Marks Podcast. Thank you for listening. You can find us on all forms of social media at Game Marks Pod. I am doing this a second time because Clash is horrible at doing this part. He gets very tongue-tied.
He's just nervous around me. It's fine. I'm his mom. If you didn't know.
God. I think this, I know I say this every time after we record, but I think this may be the best episode that we've done yet.
Yeah. Okay. We are at Game Marks Pod. Please like, subscribe, review, comment, whatever you can. I also have a pro wrestling tee store if you want to visit that.
Shilling.
We are the
Absolute
Game
shilling.
Marks. George. Kris Statlander, would we play forever or future? I'm kidding.
Don't forget.
What are we doing next week?
I'm not there yet.
Hopefully, plan the podcast better. That's what you'll be doing next week.
Wow.
I'm just saying it's a little unorganized. That's all.
We usually have show notes. We don't have those.
Well,
for
this
you.
was
Wow.
this was supposed to be like this. It wasn't meant to be like super formatted. Like
I'm
really
not
just,
professional enough for you guys. I get it.
no, we're just.
I mean, we're an hour and 19 in.
We figured it would just be easier for everybody if it was less formal and we just like shot the shit. Don't forget when we hit 200 Twitter followers, we're going to be doing.
What are you doing?
I was trying to do the tornado.
Oh my
I'm
God.
gonna take this water bottle from you.
Don't forget when we hit 200 Twitter followers, we are going to be doing a very special bonus episode where we either do a YouTube live or a Twitch live or a special episode that involves alcohol and video games. Next week on the podcast, we are going to be doing a classic retro throwback. We are going to be doing Saturday Night Slam Masters for...
Ooh. Okay.
I believe it was released on the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis.
I like it.
So yeah, we'll be doing that. That is a personal request from my friend Josh.
What? Oh, what the fuck? Where did that come from?
I don't know.
There was just a giant ass daddy long legs on Kiki's.
Well, my
Gallon of water.
It was on the floor, and I was just like,
No, just leave him there. Leave him there.
I'll take it now.
We're good.
Shit with this.
No, it's
Whoa!
dead.
Okay,
All right.
he's gone.
So as
Rest in peace, Daddy.
long legs.
Clash loves dicks. E. Carter.
Love sticks. E. Carter.
You know what?
Lot of pauses.
we're
Okay.
gonna- so normally we end the episode with Clash saying something stupid. Today we are going to have a very special run-in by who?
Headband Ken, say something stupid.
Clash Loves Dicks by E. Carter.
Perfect. See ya.